Feel free to check out my TeePublic after the video, and consider supporting my Patreon today for early access to videos, reviews of your choice, and more. Thank you, Ratt Bastard, for the opening sequence. If you'd like to see more of his content, follow him on Instagram or subscribe to his YouTube channel, where you can see a collab we did a while back. Links in the description. Now on to the review. Last time I explored one of Toho's classic horror films within the realm of tokusatsu. Now I want to take this time to go further beyond and talk about a horror film by the name Kwaidan. Kwaidan is an anthology horror film based on Lafcadio Hearn's Kwaidan Stories and Studies of Strange Things, consisting of 4 stories based in Japanese folklore being The Black Hair, The Woman of the Snow, Hoichi the Earless, and In a Cup of Tea. At the time, Kwaidan was the most expensive Japanese film to be released with a budget of 350 million Japanese yen, which translates to about $3.2 million. It's directed by Masaki Kobayashi, who is known for other classics like Harakiri, The Human Condition, and Samurai Rebellion. Let's get down to the movie itself. The Black Hair follows a samurai played by Rentaro Mikuni who divorces his wife for another woman who's part of a wealthier family. That's weird, normally it's the other way around. Anyway, the swordsman starts to feel regret for his actions and leaves his second wife to return to his first in Kyoto after a few years. Upon seeing her, he tells her how he feels miserable about the whole ordeal, and they eventually sleep together. However, the swordsman wakes up to see the rotting, decaying corpse of his now dead ex-wife, only to be cursed by her black hair, which causes him to age rapidly and die. From start to finish, this was a very powerful story. All the stories have a lack of scoring, which really adds to a great feeling of suspense, and the build-up towards the twist at the end was incredible. Quickly dying of old age is a horrifying concept, which makes for a very tragic tale altogether. Moving on to Woman of the Snow. Ever heard of The Hills Have Eyes? This is The Skies Have Eyes. 2 woodcutters take refuge in a hut during a snowstorm. One of them, played by Tetsuya Nakadai, encounters Yuki Onna, the Woman of the Snow, played by Keiko Kishi. The 2 then make a promise to never speak of this encounter, or she will kill him. Later on, Minokichi meets a young woman named Yuki, and the 2 get to know each other and eventually fall in love. The 2 get married, start a family, and live happily for 10 years. Up until a snowstorm comes by and Minokichi is reminded of his encounter with Yuki Onna. Unfortunately, Minokichi ends up telling his wife about the encounter from earlier, and Yuki reveals herself as the Woman of the Snow. Although she is upset that Minokichi broke his promise, Yuki refrains herself from killing him because of the children they have. So alternatively, she disappears into the snow after warning Minokichi that if she doesn't take care of their children, she will return to kill him. In my opinion, this is the strongest of the stories. It's simple but very effective with how it portrays a man and a spirit forming a romantic relationship. It has a lot of heart and the acting really sells it. Also, the production design is fantastic here. You can tell it was very ambitious for the time. Now on to Hoichi the Earless. Being the longest of the stories, Hoichi the Earless follows a blind musician played by Katsuo Nakamura who is confronted by the spirit of a dead warrior played by Tetsuro Tamba as he brings him to a graveyard to recite the tale of Heike as a means to resurrect the dead emperor from the story. Hoichi is interrupted and brought back by 2 villagers, and concerned for his safety, the high priest played by the legendary Takashi Shimura and his acolyte writes the Heart of Sutra all over his body. This would keep ghosts and spirits away from him, making him invisible to them. The warrior from earlier returns to bring back Hoichi, but Hoichi's ears have not been written on, so the warrior tears off Hoichi's ears and returns to their graveyard. I don't find this one as effective as the first two, but I still love it for what it is, as it's essentially an epic in comparison to the other stories. That and the sets and performances are all great. Being the shortest of the stories, In a Cup of Tea is told by a writer, played by Osamu Takizawa, as he's waiting for his publisher. The moment reminds him of a story about a guard named Kanai, played by Kanema Nakamura, who stops for some tea only to see a strange face appear in the reflection. You know, I think at that point you should probably just get tea somewhere else. Or not. Kanai ends up encountering the man from his tea earlier. He tries telling his associates about it, but they all laugh and tell him he's seeing things. Later, Kanai is met with 3 spirits and attempts to fight them, only to seemingly be driven mad and insane. The writer who's narrating mentions that this story was never finished and suggests it was likely left up for interpretation. Then suddenly, when the publisher arrives at the author's home, he asks a woman for the writer only for them to discover in shock that the author has become trapped in his own tea. This one is my least favorite of the stories. It feels a little shallow and the ending feels very abrupt. I wish it was just executed a little better, but not entirely a bad one. Upon release, Kwaidan was met with tons of critical acclaim. The movie has 3 different cuts. The footage I used for this review is from the extended 3-hour cut, but I personally prefer the 2-hour and 40-minute version as the pacing and lighting are much better. There's also a version of the film that cuts out Woman of the Snow entirely. In the end, Kwaidan is absolutely fantastic. All the stories are told incredibly well, with very impressive set pieces, with very tense, suspenseful, and foreboding atmospheres, topping it all off with excellent performances, writing, direction, and cinematography. If you're wanting to give Kwaidan a watch, it's available on DVD and Blu-ray as part of the Criterion collection. Just keep in mind that only the 2-hour and 40-minute version is on the DVD, whereas the uncut 3-hour version can be found on the Blu-ray. Hopefully this helps you decide on what to watch on Halloween, and before I close, I just want to say, thank you for watching. Now if you like what you see, definitely consider supporting me on Patreon, and you can look at exclusive content including updates, bloopers, and script excerpts, as well as seeing videos a day before they're uploaded. And you can even send a request for future videos. You can even get a t-shirt of your choice from my TeePublic, like this one based on the film Kwaidan that I just put up. Or if you're interested in something else, I also put up a design based on the 1977 horror comedy House. Once I reach enough patrons, I will review the tokusatsu series Red Man from Tsuburaya Productions, so if that's something you'd be interested in, go ahead and become a patron today. I would also like to give a very special thank you to my patrons. As you can see, it's not a lot, but if you want to see your name here, then become a patron today. And I would most certainly love to give a very special thank you to my brothers Xylomar for the music and Ratt Bastard for the opening. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to keep this channel going. And this is TitanGoji, signing off.